Hey, what's up everyone? Greg White here. It's Paddock Chatter presented by the National Guard. On this week's installment, we're going to be talking numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 28, 32, 35, and 45. We start with number 1. Congratulations go out to Joey Pasquarella, who wrapped up the Supersport West Championship at Mid-Ohio last weekend. That gives him the number 1 plate. And how about this weekend, Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca? Only 1 race per class. There's 3 of those. But wait a second, speaking of number 3, in the American Superbike class presented by the National Guard, there are 3 former champs that are going to be racing. First up, Eric Bostrom. He's on the Show Air Cycle World Attack Performance Suzuki GSX-R 1000. He'll be joined by 1995 Superbike champ Miguel Duhamel, who shows up on a Ducati 1198. And Jason Pridmore is back, has 2 AMA championships. Pridmore, he'll be racing a Celtic Suzuki GSX-R 1000. That should be exciting to see all those guys running out there and competing for a podium spot in the American Superbike class. All right, so I skipped over number 2, so let's get back to that. In the Daytona Sportbike presented by AMSOIL Championship, number 2 is the difference in points between Graves Yamaha rider Josh Herrin and Geico Power Sports Suzuki rider Danny Eslick. That is a close championship. Let's get you back to number 3. That's the amount of riders that have won races so far in the Daytona Sportbike class this season. Now we're back on track. All right, so number 4. The points difference between Graves Yamaha rider Josh Hayes and Rockstar Makita Yoshimura Suzuki's Tommy Hayden in the American Superbike class. So we go to number 5. That's the amount of riders that have won different races so far this season in the American Superbike class. That's pretty impressive. Skip 6 right to the number 7. This weekend at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, it's round number 7 of the AMA Pro Championship, just so you know. Okay, now on to some larger numbers, more healthy if you will. How about 28? That's the amount of people that are entered to race the American Superbike class this weekend. And 32, the amount of riders entered to race in the Supersport competition, which brings me to 35. The points difference between JD Beach and his Rockwell Performance teammate Cameron Beaubier in the Supersport East competition. So now on to an even larger number, 45, the amount of men and women that have entered to compete in the Daytona Sportbike field. It was announced that AMA Pro Racing has said that in the American Superbike class, the V-Twins now get a 10-pound weight break. That means that the bike might accelerate better and turn better, and either way, Larry Pegram's going to be happy because he loses 10 pounds, and that means that his Ducati is going to work a little bit better. In other news that we've talked about here on the blog, Ducati introduced an 848 Evo. Now, it's a 140 horsepower 848. It's got a lot of trick pieces on it, but the thing that caught my eye was that a lot of these parts, the way it's configured, came out of AMA Pro Racing feedback. So that's really cool for anyone who's looking to get themselves a Ducati. That comes out later in the year. Now look, if you have any questions, comments, you want to send me a picture of yourself with your motorcycle, a little story, perhaps you have a picture with you and an AMA Pro Racer at some point and a little story, send it to me at greg@amaproracing.com. I'll collect all this information and we'll see about leaking stuff out on the blog. Thanks for joining me here on Paddock Chatter presented by the National Guard. I'll see you next time.